Hello everyone, my name is Xiaodong Yue. I'm a professor at Capital Normal University. Welcome you to my course on skills for writing and publishing academic papers in English. Today's topic is on how to write a good literature review. Before we start our talk, let's see the vocabulary or the words for this talk. I'll do you a favor. Please read after me to familiarize your ear for the terms, for the words, for the vocabulary I'll mention in this talk. Are you ready? Read after me. Academic writing, publication, article, journal, magazine, title, expectation, citation, index, proficiency, abstract, introduction, method, results, discussion, conclusion, references, footnote, endnote, guideline. Now, first of all, I want you to have these questions in mind. First, what is a literature review? Second, what is a good literature review? Third, what checkers a writer needs to keep in mind in writing a good literature review? And fourth, what tips a writer needs to know in writing a good literature review? With these questions in mind, let's start today's talk. First, what is a literature review? A literature review is a comprehensive summary of prior research on a topic area. It reviews journal articles, book chapters, and other relevant information. And it provides a theoretical base for writing and help you to determine the nature of the research. Additionally, a literature review demonstrates to readers one's understanding of the subject matter by identifying, summarizing, and critically assessing prior research that is relevant or related to the topic area. And in so doing, it lays down the foundation for the ideas and existing research the writer wants to discuss. And it raises the research questions for the present study by identifying the research gaps in the literature. So basically, these are the functions of literature review. Now, what are the components of literature review? First, you should have an introduction of key ideas, key knowledge, and the key studies that have been established on a topic area. Secondly, it gives a critical overview of the strengths and weaknesses of prior theories and studies on a topic area. And thirdly, it identifies research gaps and problems that have not been well addressed or well studied in the past research. And finally, it presents research questions and hypotheses for the present study. Those are major components. Now, what are the types of literature review? There are basically 5 types of research review. The first one is called argumentative literary review. The second, chronological literary review. Third, methodological literary review. Fourth, thematic literary review. And the fifth, theoretical literary review. So this is are the 5 basic kinds of literary review you need to keep in mind. Well, let's give a more specific or detailed discussion and illustration of each type. First, argumentative literary review examines literature selectively to support or refute an argument that has been established before. And it attempts to establish contrasting viewpoints in the text body. And thirdly, it seeks to identify the suitable research methods, data sources, and analytical techniques for the present study. So step by step, it leads the reader's attention to what deserves to be studied more in the present study. And here is an example of an argumentative literary review. And you can see it points out the current problems in research. This is an article that I published earlier on the best-known national and foreign creators. I just try to justify the necessity for the present study. Next is the theoretical literary review. Theoretical literary review focuses on relevant studies that have been accumulated to address an issue, concept, theory, or phenomenon that is important for your current research. It answers the following questions. What theories are there available? What is the relationship between these theories? What research and theoretical gaps are there? And what new research goals and hypotheses are there to be tested? Well, in short, a theoretical literary review attempts to review that the current theories are not sufficient for explaining some new or emerging research problems or issues. Now, here is an example of a theoretical literary review. As you can see, it compares cultural differences in theorizing about what is creativity. Next is a chronological literary review. It focuses on examining research throughout a period of time about an issue or concept or theory or phenomenon that appeared in the literature and then tracing its evolution. In such a way, chronological review discusses research in a historical perspective to show the similarity with the current development and to identify the likely directions for future research. And chronological review analyzes key issues, debates, turning points which have shaped the direction of research in a topic area. Okay, this is what it's about. And here is an example of a chronological review. You can see in my review of Chinese visual humor, I traced down the development of the concept throughout history. Next is the methodological literary review. The methodological literary review focuses on how studies were conducted or designed instead of what truths were discovered or proved. In such a way, it compares different approaches of a studied topic across different times in history, different cultures, even different societies. It also cautions readers ethical issues that they should have been aware of the study as well. Now, here is an example of a methodological literature review. You can see in this review, I try to look at different approaches to measure creativity in Chinese society. Okay, now you know the different types of literature review. Next, how do you find the right literature review for your present study? I would recommend you to do full glance, means a quick look. First, you would glance through the abstracts to quickly determine the empirical relevance of the literature to your study. So just look at abstract, you know what it is. Okay. Second, you glance through the methodology to quickly determine the methodological value of the literature to your study. Thirdly, you glance through the results to quickly determine the empirical value of the literature to your study. And fourthly, you glance through the limitations and the future direction of research to quickly determine the methodological gaps to your study. So this is how I would quickly determine the value of this particular article, by doing the full kind of glance through. All right, let's just have an example of a glance through the abstract. Now, here is an article I published before. It's called "Can You Forgive? It Depends on How Happy You Are." And if you think this is something that may be useful in your present writing, you will decide to read further. And next, you glance through the methodology to quickly determine the methodological value. And here the how I did my study using this experimental approach, study 1 and study 2. Okay, here is an example of glancing through the results to quickly determine the empirical value. You can see whether you see in table, in figure, this is how I present myself. And if you think there's something that is useful for you to cite for your study, you keep it. And lastly, an example of glancing through the limitations and future direction of study to quickly determine the methodological gaps of the present study. And you can see, as I said here, future investigation should consider the group membership of perpetrators and victims to examine what happiness exaggerates or attenuates the effects. And this is like what needs to be done further. So remember those 4 things: abstract, methodology, results, and future direction research. You don't have to read article. You just read these 4 parts. This will give you a quick outlook of what this paper is. It saves you a hell out of trouble. You don't have to read the whole article. This is the efficient way of a literary review.